Hello and welcome back to another session of serde-yaml. It's Byron speaking. In the previous one, we have added lots of presentation details and we are nearly there. We are nearly able to specify that we would like to have output that looks like JSON. And I thought, considering that JSON is a subset of YAML, I find it very important that we are able to configure the YAML presenter in a way that makes the YAML output look like JSON, so it can be parsed by a JSON parser if we like to do so. And the default presentation, the presentation details are basically the options that make it all happen, and they're made so that you can't go wrong on it. So whatever comes out of there with the options you set, this is why everything is public right now, must be valid YAML. And right now I don't see a problem with that. Right now I think this will work just fine. So what I would like to have is, the default implementation creates YAML style. So it's really human readable. And I think we want to have JSON style as well. So impl presentation details. And now I think we can do something like YAML that returns presentation details, which will just be default, just for completeness. Convenience method for completeness, returning details producing a human readable YAML document. And now we have JSON, which is something we have to set up from scratch. So JSON returns presentation details which produce a document compatible with the JSON format. And then we might want to add a note that says this works because JSON is a valid subset of YAML. So yeah, let's do it. Let's have presentation details here. I wonder why I had two different completions here. Ah, this is why I have a typo. Typo right here. Do I still have this typo? No. Good. Always a good indicator. If you have two words that look kind of similar but should be just one, then you have a typo in there. All right. I think I will just copy this to start off and then go through each one to set it up accordingly. So spaces per annotation levels 2. Small scalar value style is flow. Big scalar value style is flow. Considering they are both the same, the threshold doesn't matter. Flow scalar value style is plain. No, now we want double quote. Block scalar value style. We won't have that anymore, so that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let's just mark it as doesn't matter if it doesn't matter. Because if you don't have block style scalars, then the setting for these doesn't matter. Sequence style is flow. Mapping style is flow, so we get the parentheses and stuff. Explicit document start indicator, no. Folded block scalar maximum width hint. We don't have folded block scalars, and we don't have that, so that doesn't matter. Cool. That's already it. if that works. Yeah, but it should work. Cool. So that is that. I'm still wondering. I mean, at the very first session, kind of when dealing with serialization, I asked myself, how do I tell it not to have an enclosing document here or enclosing kind of structure for the document? And I'm not sure. I'm totally unsure how this works with JSON. If there is valid JSON, if we have multiple documents in one, for instance, we could try that. But it's still something I have to figure out, and this kind of affects the options that we have. So we are so not done with that. But anyway, that's how that could look like. So from now on, we will keep both in sync. Just to be sure we kind of have something that looks sound to us, even though obviously right now there is no way to test this. Well, also our serializer produces JSON all the time, which is good. But eventually we should adjust this. Anyway, let's test. Let's see if this actually works. So far, it does work. Awesome. So now let's go ahead with the additional examples here to 17 to 18 quoted scalars. I think this is something I just want to put in here and do serialization testing for these. Deserialization testing once the time is ripe. Because we cannot produce it like that because, oh no, wait. No, we can't, because that's different flow scalar styles here. So once again, oops, let's put it in here. I do hope that we must make it raw, I think, in order to keep these things alive in here. Or do we? No. Yeah, actually these should stay light. These should be literal here. So yes, let's keep them. So in Rust this should work just fine as well, I think. Quoted scalars. And we shall just dump this example here. All right, let's see if that works. And here we should have a panic and say we cannot serialize scalars with flow style scalars with different styles. That is true. That is true. And here we go, that should still work. Let's look at the data. Does it look decent? It does. Raw strings are awesome. Good, next one. Let's see. Multi-line flow scalars. Oh yeah, that's plain and quoted mode. That's interesting. And I'm not sure if I have seen this for keys as well, but I think technically keys are just scalars to him. And I guess the lexer will just deal with that accordingly. Oh my god, the lexer is gonna be tough. But on the other hand, we can just look at the Python implementation if we are inclined to do that. I would actually rather not do that and build it based on my test cases here. So yeah, here we have two different flow scalar styles. We have quoted and plain, so we can't generate this as well, or either. So we have your /n in there, so we want a raw string, and we just dump this here. I shall also add the documentation line. Like that. Basically, this script is just a way to nicely dump the data and have have a way to access the Python YAML implementation. That's why I have this Python stuff, because I want to have one reference YAML implementation at hand. I don't want to be totally on my own just with the spec. So that's kind of my bootstrapping mechanism that should provide me some sort of safety net. If I'm in doubt, I can just check this one. Yeah, so that should work. And here we can add this one as well, as should panic. We cannot serialize. So what is this? Flow scalars. Multi-line scalars. True, that's also the flow style. Flow style scalars with different styles, yeah. So that is 18 here. So that should work. Let's look at the data here. Looks good. All right, looks good. I'm not sure about the trailing line break here. Maybe there is an option. Line break, I think there is a line break option here, in fact. And maybe they define it somewhere. Nope, there is no documentation for it. Figure it out yourself. What this means. Is it line break in general? Like for every line break they do, it's kind of this character sequence. So you can have Windows style or X style or Linux style ones. Or is this just saying, well, at the end of the document, there should be a line break or not? I don't know. Jesus. You know, this documentation is really bad, I think. It's not good. It's so incomplete. I think it's part of the workflow. The way this is built kind of fosters incomplete documentation. I shouldn't be such a loudmouth because I still have to do it better, but at least I have an example on how not to do it. So let's try to be better than that. Okay, so that works fine. Uh, 12 minutes in. And yeah, tags. Awesome. 219. We just have like 10 more to do. That's good. We're closing in. So maybe until lunch this is actually done. Yeah, and the tag stuff. I think now we get into a realm where we really have to just dump the strings all the time and be done. So in YAML, untagged nodes are given a type depending on the application. The examples in the specification generally use the sequence map and string types from the failsafe schema. A few examples also use the int, float, and null types from the JSON schema. I see. The repository includes additional types such as binary, OMAP for audit map, and set and others. So that's interesting. So that kind of defines the type we should use when serializing stuff, which is cool because that would allow us to say, well, for sets, for collection sets, we actually wanna use a YAML set as well instead of a list or something. That's pretty cool because after all, we need to maintain as much type information as possible, and using tags we can actually do that. In JSON mode, obviously we cannot. So it's also worth thinking about how we handle this stuff in JSON mode. I think if in doubt, we will just generate invalid JSON, because if JSON has some tags in there, then this will obviously not work. But this is really depending on your own data structures. Let's mark, I mean, I can see that right now. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would want to note this. Warning. Warning. Depending on your data structures, the serializer might insert tags to further specify the underlying type, which would yield a document which doesn't satisfy the JSON requirements or JSON requirements. There's no way to prevent this right now, unless we have a way to say, don't use tags or prohibit tags or something. But this is really depending on the schema we should use. And I have no notion of schema right now and of tags right now. And I think this comes together once we have that. And technically we would need that if we want to do it right. And I have the intention to do it right. Because, anything else? And if you look at the JSON code, it looks quite neat and simple. And this is, I think, the beauty of JSON, that is easy to implement serialization and deserialization. Relatively easy. Still no piece of cake, but compared to something like YAML, which already gets super complex here just by looking at the presentation options, and we're not even yet done. Have just scratched the surface. Yeah, well, so let's do this example integers. So that's different presentation modes. We will have to parse this properly. And I guess we should at least put it into the data section here. So let's just do this. The good thing is that this is the fast part. This is easy to do. So that's 219. And I will always want to keep this information here. All right, for 19. And this is also something we cannot currently serialize. We cannot serialize integers with multiple styles using tags. Not right now. We might have some callback mechanism that eventually allows that, but for now, there's no way. That should work. In the meanwhile, floating point, so different styles as well. Same thing. Same but different. Yeah. Kind of doing it the other way around now. 220. And now finally, we shall copy the actual text. Like this. Cool. That should just be fine. No need for raw string. And now 220. So it's good. These ones that we can't do, at least they're fast to put in. They will cause us some nice work when deserializing this, or when writing the deserialization part. But again, that's far away in the future. 20. And that should do. Oops, didn't save. I don't know if that made a difference here. Probably did, because we were missing example 220. All right. That worked. Wow, by now 7 passed. So we have 7 panics here. Gee. Then miscellaneous, so that's null, true, false. Yeah, I wonder how we are going to do this. This is all based on the schema that we have set up. And this kind of means a pluggable mechanism for basically handling scalar values, because for the lexer this is just a scalar value, obviously. And then somebody needs to understand what it is supposed to be. And yeah, so the quoting style or the flow scalar style is important too, because that way you can say, well, everything that is quoted, we definitely interpret as a string. And also that's currently not part of this thing here. Because in a way, if we have a number and we know that we are serializing a number, we never want to use the any other style but plain, right? Yeah, so maybe I want to call this string small scalar string value style. Yeah, because for numbers I wouldn't want to do this. Makes no sense. Like that. Small scalar string value G with threshold. Incredible. All right. Here we go. So 220. We have next miscellaneous 21. Damn it. Let's start with that one. And now again, so that's the grunt work part, obviously. No doubt about it. I mean, it's not totally unnecessary to do that. After all, you want this for deserialization at some point later, but right now it feels like grunt work. But I don't want to forget about it either, and I'd rather have all these tests there that remind me constantly about what I have to do, instead of kind of getting ahead of myself and thinking I'm done, because at some point I would probably just want to be done with it. And that's kind of the risk that you have, that you just want to forget. Okay, that's 21. Not to forget the thing here. So maybe we can do that. Yeah, because this and this we can't do because we have different scheme or different styles for the floats. Here we have different styles for ins, but here we could do it. This is just based, we need a schema that helps us to define. Yeah, we would need a schema. This should fail. We need a schema to be able to specify how different kinds of values are serialized somehow. Yeah, can I? Some sort of schema needed. Just try to shorten this to specify how different kinds of values are serialized. So that's something we should be able to do, actually, at some point. Right now we have no such luck. All right. Now it's 22 timestamps. Ew, timestamps. I'm afraid of this already. So I think there is some sort of date time functionality there that could be used, but this is something we should look at. It also depends on the schema. So I think this is something we want to fail, similar to the 21 that we've just done. So it's D equals that one. But this should be totally possible to parse once we are done to serialize once we're done with the serializer. Yeah, so it's kind of a plug-in system. The serialization stuff just works. Yeah, I'm not sure how this is gonna work because we don't really have reflection. It's maybe the schema stuff can't work for us for custom types. I have no idea, to be honest, because in Rust there's no reflection, and I'm not sure if that can even work for us. Have no idea how dates should be handled. Does schema help? I have no idea. Should fail for now. All right, explicit typing is denoted with a tag using the exclamation point symbol. Global tags are URIs and may be specified in the tag shorthand notation using a handle. The tag shorthand notation, I think that's just a single. Yeah. The tag handle must be associated with a prefix either by default or by using a tag directive. I see. So the shorthand stuff is low. Okay, I think that boils down to tag example com 2000 app /local. This is the global namespace with the YAML tags and whatever that is. Oh, lucky me that the back thing is working. Okay, so that's the tag stuff. It's more like a deserialization thing. I think this also affects the presentation because there could be a canonical mode that enforces tags, but I wouldn't call it canonical. I would really say what it does. So whether or not to output tags under which circumstances, like, okay, the tag is non-default, output it, otherwise don't. So there we have to find something smart and usable. But I think there's something we do in the next session. We are 30 minutes in, can be a shorter one, why not? So thanks for watching and have a great day.